Yeah, regarding Nicotine's thought experiment, which is this thought experiment of if you had predeterminism of consciousness and behavior, then you could print out a document of what someone was going to do, but if you showed that document to the person, it would change, what, or at least could, and would allow them to change what they do, and therefore invalidate the document. His thought experiment is that he can't imagine some sort of constraint so successful, or some way of wording the document. And then I replied to somebody who I think went into the recursion issues of the self-reference of it. If the document that's printed is a part of the uh, things, the objects that have to be considered, then there's this self-referential thing. Now you can sometimes master such a self-reference or a recursive thing because you can do the limits involved and find out maybe they converge, right? So Zeno's paradox is a limit like that. It converges and find it's not a problem. Other ones you find are not bounded, or there's various things can involve. When you're talking about getting a particular printout, though, it's worth noting that a computer right now, for example, cannot give you an exact integral result. It can't do the addition under there. It can only get an approximation. So it means you could only get an approximate printout. And these approximations, become interesting. Like how gross do the approximations have to be? Okay. It's a good thought experiment and worth thinking deeply about. And so I have thought more deeply about it. And I think that it does show that there's an issue of self-reference. It's like chaos theory or Wolfram's theory of automatons, where very simple, obviously deterministic rules lead to patterns that are non-deterministic. And so that even within a deterministic framework, you might find out that there's a problem with being able to calculate something like a predictive document like this. Now, the other point that was brought up by the guy I responded to, like the this is a response to my response to him, um, was the fact that you don't know other things that might come in. So that I would fix by bounding. This person is in a two-bedroom apartment that they can't leave or something like this. And with that restriction, that should be enough, right? Because you can know if they'll try to leave. You can know if it's strong enough to hold them and exactly where they'll even try and everything else. So it should be relatively easy to build an apartment like that, including one that could be escaped, and just know that the person is not going to try. So all of these bounds put things in a relativistic framework, and I find that interesting. Um, but there are calculations that come up in classical mathematics that you then find, hey, this system can't deal with. It can raise the question, but it can't answer it. And that's often when you need another system in which the question can be raised, but it can't be answered. And that system then creates questions it can't answer, and so on and so forth. And that's progress. Cheers.